But Jenks, we've got to talk about the Final Four. Maybe we can get our hands on some money from the casinos en route or by playing the most outstanding player. Who do we expect to have the biggest game in the biggest moment in the NCAA tournament? Looking at the odds, it's Paolo Banchero of Duke plus 300, Abaji for Kansas plus 450, Colin Gillespie of Villanova plus 800, and then Remy Martin at plus 900. Going farther down the list, any other players you think have a fighting chance at winning this award?
Well, if we're looking at a sleeper pick, and I know you agree with me here, I absolutely love Armando Bacot, because if Carolina pulls the upset and they're 5-1, they are at the bottom of the four teams. They have the longest odds to win the title. Then Bacot's going to be the guy. He has been a double-double machine during this tournament, the best player for North Carolina, and they have a lot of talent. So don't sleep on Caleb Love, who's been hitting. Brady Manick, their guy who transferred from Oklahoma. He has a lot of tournament experience. But Bacot really is the guy that makes that offense run. And 14-1 is such great value. So if I'm looking for a sleeper, someone who is on a team that isn't favored to win at all, but who could make an impact and who could win it if Carolina can advance, I think it's Bacot.
Yeah, I love Armando Bacot for this play because you get the long shot odds, but you need North Carolina to win. So I think that is the biggest sabotage factor there because Carolina is not one of the favorites to win. So let's look at the favorites and the theory that Joe G presented us. Looking at the team you think is going to win and looking at a player further down the list, because his suggestion was looking at Duke. He thinks Duke's going to win it all. So he suggested guys like Jeremy Roach, some shooters from teams that aren't, the best player that have the shortest odds, like Banchero for Duke. I think we both agree on Remy Martin for Kansas at plus 900. I think Kansas certainly has a shot to win this. I think when you look at the odds, they have the second best odds to win the tournament. I think they have the easier draw against Villanova. I think Villanova could definitely give them a scare. But overall, I think Kansas is the more talented team. So on that regard, I think Kansas has the easier path to the championship. And then looking at Remy Martin, if you look at these tournaments, guard play is so important. And I know he's not the best player on the team, and Abaji is. But if he has a good game where he facilitates well, he doesn't turn the ball over, and he makes a big shot or two down the stretch, it definitely could be Remy Martin. And talk about a guy with experience. I remember watching Remy Martin playing for Arizona State when I was pregnant. My daughter is 2. It's been a long time. He's been playing in the NCAA for a long time. So I think Remy Martin at plus 900, also a good value play.
Chelsa, we are in simpatico here. I feel the exact same way, especially if you think Kansas is going to win this thing. And particularly, I was really surprised to see in the second half of that game against Miami that Kansas played in. The first half was really tough, but the second half was a completely different game. And it's because of Remy Martin. When he was in the game, he was hitting pull-up jumpers, he was distributing the basketball, and he was able to control the pace of that game, and Miami could not keep up. I was a little surprised that he's only 9-1. I figured you might get him at 14-1, 16-1, but I think this is based on how he looked in that game against the Canes. So if you're in the Jayhawks, I love the value with Remy Martin. I think you're exactly right.
If you need a refresher course in the Final Four games, Nova and Kansas facing off where Kansas is laying 4.5 points. That spread has not moved. The total 132.5. And then UNC taking on Duke in the ultimate rivalry matchup. Duke laying 4.5 in that game. Total set at 151.5, where we have seen a touch of movement as that game opened at 150.5, I believe, with some money coming in on the over. And then national championship odds, we've got Duke at plus 160, Kansas plus 180, Nova plus 475, and UNC 5-1. Jenks, do you think it's a good time to put any futures bets down, or do you think it's too late in the game?
I think it's too late here just because, I think this is going to be more competitive than we anticipate. I think Carolina can give Duke a serious run here. But also, it wouldn't surprise me if Duke won. And I know this is the case in a lot of Final Four games, but I think particularly when it comes to this Final Four, it's really hard to handicap and really hard to judge who's going to win this thing. And I think most of the value is gone. Maybe if you're sold on Carolina, you can get Carolina at 5-1, but also they are fourth in the list of 4 teams to win this tournament. So I think most of the value has evaporated.
Also, if you're playing Duke at plus 160, you almost would rather just play them on the spread in each game because we have seen this trend where spreads haven't seemed to matter too much in the Final Four of the last 10 years. The spread hasn't mattered. What was the stat where 84% of the time the spread has not mattered, where a favorite either covers or an underdog wins outright? So if you subscribe to that strategy, just take Duke in each game. Not as much plus money, but I think that's probably the safer route.
Yeah, I think you're probably right about that. I think that's probably the safe way to go there. Ultimately, I'm going to stay away because I'm not quite sure what's going to happen. And I got to tell you, when I'm looking at these games, Chelsea, and I'm trying to handicap, I'm going to follow that trend of whoever wins is going to cover because I cannot ignore a trend that goes back essentially 2 decades. But overall, this has been a really tough couple of games for me to sit down and come up with a side, particularly when it comes to Kansas and Villanova. I keep changing by the hour.
Also, we've had so much time to think about this. When you have a
Yeah.
week to sit and reflect,
Yeah.
I'm also wondering if that plays to the nerves of some of these players, if they're getting more nervous by the moment. And so, first half unders are starting to look better and better for me. I think because we will see some nerves out of some of these kids, and especially with the venue change to a much bigger stadium where the line of sight is going to be different, the lighting's going to be different. And so, I think that definitely has an impact on teams that are shooting threes. Well, only 3 games left in the tournament, but you can still bet the bracket better with insights from BetQL. Unlock upset predictions, tournament championship picks, and more. Visit betql.com to get started. Jenks, it's
Mm.
not this weekend, but I'm already seeing the promos for the Masters, and immediately I just have a smile that goes on my face because I love the Masters. And
Yep.
also the commercials are very relaxing. Like the flowers, the greenery, it's amazing. And even better, we're hearing rumors that the big cat might be playing at the Masters this year. Tiger Woods has been spotted at Augusta National. On Tuesday, he played with his 13-year-old son, Charlie, and Justin Thomas. We all know him on the course. And so BetMGM has done us a favor and already put out some props for Tiger Woods if he does, in fact, play. To finish in the top 5, plus 1,400. To miss the cut is juiced to minus 225. Who wants to bet on that? Not me. To make the cut, plus 165. So I think those are the safer plays. Obviously, you can bet him top 20. Top 5 after round 1 is plus 1,200. And then top 20 after round 1 is plus 275. Do you think it's smart to put any kind of money on Tiger Woods this week? Or
No,
next
I
week,
do.
I should say.
No, I don't. I really don't. And I'm not trying to be negative here. This is an amazing story. This is an incredible story if he plays. He hasn't confirmed it, but the indications are that it looks like he's going to try. But I keep coming back to the fact that Tiger has a certain people are drawn to Tiger because of how brilliant he is as an athlete, because he's come back so many times. And if anyone can do it, Tiger can. But I really think that we're underestimating the devastation that was caused to his leg. He's not going to be walking again. So if I'm placing any bet, I would go maybe to finish in the top 20 after round 1 at plus 275. He comes out, he's riding that adrenaline. But overall, over 4 rounds, I don't think his leg's going to be able to hold up.
We've seen other players talking about Tiger Woods because obviously the media is going to ask other players about the biggest story in golf. Rory McIlroy said that Tiger Woods looked great in his practice round. And I'm not going to call it tension, but Tiger Woods is such a presence that I'm wondering what other golfers in the field are thinking. Because if you're paired with Tiger Woods, like that makes a difference when you're trying to make a putt and you see the greatest of all time looking over your shoulder. I am so excited for the Masters. Come